Hello, my name is Carol, and I am here with my classmates Tahira, Philip, and Timothy. We have been afforded this great opportunity to interview Ms. Shaye DePasquale from TerraCycle, which is located in Trenton, New Jersey. So without further delay, we're going to join in on the interview with Shaye, answering our first question. And the first question we asked Shaye was to please give us the history on TerraCycle and how it came about.
Originally, when we got started, we actually weren't doing recycling, which is ironic because that's what we're known for today. We started as a vermicompost company. So basically, we were turning organic waste into organic fertilizer via worms. So if we flash back to 2001, Tom is a undergrad at Princeton University, and they have this idea to take the worm poop that is being generated from these critters who are eating actually the cafeteria's food waste, and thus translating that into an organic fertilizer. And then the really unique element of this was that the fertilizer was thus being bottled into recycled, used plastic bottles. So in essence, though, our very original product is selling waste that was packaged in waste. So you have an entire product that is essentially what most people would consider garbage, trash, waste, insert whatever term you want to use there. So this original concept really filled a gap in the market for something that people would normally consider to be trash or waste, and repurposing it in a way that it could actually be marketed to a consumer, which was actually pretty innovative at the time. So that whole concept of turning waste into a profit is kind of something that rolled over into the programs that we still have today, while we no longer deal with the organic fertilizer, vermicompost elements. Today, a lot more of our programs focus on transforming the way people think about waste, both consumers and companies and brands. So we actually partner with brands to help them create waste solutions that are accessible to consumers to solve for their product packaging at the end of its life cycle. And then on the consumer side, they are getting access to a way to responsibly dispose of what otherwise would just become trash or be viewed as trash or waste in the traditional sense.
I know I was watching a little bit of one of the interviews where cigarette butts was a product that was being recycled.
Sure. So like with cigarettes, actually, that's one of our probably most robust programs that actually, in that regard, that program actually does partner a lot with local municipalities because it's such a prevalent form of waste that you can pretty much find anywhere. So what a lot of people don't realize is that while there are some compostable elements, such as like the tobacco or even like the paper pieces to the cigarette, the filter itself is actually plastic. But because there's so many little pieces there, and there are like the organic compostable elements, there's the plastic, it takes like a specific process to pull that all apart and then compost what can be composted, melt down the plastic to then be made into pellets that can be used to form a new material. So there is, we have like specific receptacles that our design team created that can be placed into communities. And usually they're kind of like a long piece that can be attached. It's like its own special bin.
We have one outside of the building where I work.
Oh, awesome.
Exactly. It's a black container. It's like a round kind of bulb type shape at the bottom, and then like a long spout, and they just drop the butt in there, and it does collect it, as you say.
Shaye, you said that is that primarily that's a big portion of the business that you do with in regards to recycling. Is the cigarette butts like one of your major industry targets?
I would say that is one of our largest ones. That's one of the ones that we approach communities a lot with, and every person has probably seen multiple cigarette butts littered in their lifetime. Cigarette butts are actually, I think, if not they are one of the most littered items in the world. So I would say that's probably not only the one we get the most buzz about, but also the one that has such a clear targeted way in which we can bring it out there to communities and towns and municipalities.
I know you had said before that you do focus primarily on connecting with companies and certain brand solutions for your recycling. You guys actually offer like, hey, you know, this company probably doesn't know the incentives of maybe recycling some of their waste for reproduction. So maybe we should offer insight or ideas or programs to them to say, hey, you know, this is what we think you guys could do to help maybe lessen your waste cost margins and help to deliver you a more reproduction offering to your products, so that way there you're creating less waste and you're making a little bit more profits on the products that you have because you're not requiring more materials. Do you guys offer that too?
Yes, so we have a division of the business that's our material sales and solutions team. So they're kind of, not only do they help in the process of brands who come to us, but they also kind of do, I guess I would say, like a consulting sort of a role, working with brands who might be interested in learning about how their product or some waste that's produced in their service, like maybe if they're in like the construction industry or something like that, how some side product of that can be recycled / repurposed. They also help to work alongside our R&D team, who are our scientists on staff who will actually come up with, like, say it's a product that we've never had to recycle before. What would this process look like? What would the collections for this look like? What could this product be turned into in the end?
If someone was interested in being able to have that on their, let's just say, campus of wherever they work, how would you go about, what's the best direction of contact to be able to get that program started in an organization?
We have a strategic partnerships team who they deal specifically with, actually, they kind of run our the cigarette recycling program on kind of like the outreach and community relations side of it. So like I could definitely literally pass on the email contact for that. But in terms of they're definitely more of like some of our front facing colleagues, because they do outreach, their emails do float out there. I think they're probably on our website so that people, when they find out that these programs exist, maybe they like read an article showing, you know, University A is doing this and now University B is like, wow, this is something we should have on our campus as well. They're able to directly engage with that contact immediately. And they're kind of experts in dealing also, like we have a lot of partnerships with the larger Keep America Beautiful campaign. I think we've done like a lot of like webinars and workshops with them. So they really handle all of like the helping people think through where this could be placed on their campus to like how can we build kind of like a buzz around it once this is installed to get more people in your location involved in it.
What would you say are your sustainability goals, and how have you achieved those goals?
First and foremost, we're looking to keep waste out of landfills, away from incinerators, but we're also really in pursuit of helping push towards a more circular economy and creating more of those closed loop solutions for hard to recycle waste streams. Like we at work, we are always using the phrase like recycle everything. And as I mentioned earlier, like we view that most everything is technically recyclable, or there can be some solution found for it, whether that's composting or something else like that. And then additionally, I would also say there's definitely a awareness component to our sustainability goals to actually change public perception about this concept of waste, trash, garbage, you know, the larger kind of category, both for consumers and then also for producers, companies, brands, because it is definitely kind of double-sided, because even if the brand is doing quote unquote the right thing, it only works if the consumers buy into this concept of recycling products.
just helping to educate our children in the community and also the adult community about what it is you're doing and how we can make this better. Do you have particular programs in place for the schools?
In that regard, a lot of our programs that end up going into the schools, or that we have more of a say in what the programming looks like, is often done with some of our brand partners specifically. So like something that jumps out to me is like Colgate. Every year they do a Save the Water campaign, and PepsiCo, we do a recycling rally campaign. So together we are creating a lot of resources, activities, again, previously before all of this, actual in-person events, or at least the concept kind of put together for like a game and activity that could be done in like a school assembly, let's say, or even in more of a community setting if we're not talking about a school, but perhaps like a community center or rec program. So we do kind of work with brands to try and put together like age-appropriate programming, family-friendly programming that I think has been pretty receptive, because a lot of these programs, like the Colgate one, I think I was on a call this morning, I think we were saying how I think that's in its 9th year of that program contests going on. And basically it's like schools are competing, if you will, against each other to generate the highest collections, and then they'll win like a recycled playground or a recycled garden at the end of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
This was a really interesting interview. I'd like to know where does TerraCycle see themselves in, let's say, about the next 7 to 10 years? Do you guys have any innovations working on in the background that we could look forward to in the future?
That's actually like an exciting question to answer. So if any of you have heard of kind of our branch or sister company, however you want to look at it, Loop, that is definitely where I see a lot of conversion of some of our brand partners who currently have recycling programs, at least additionally adopting programs in Loop. So what Loop does is Loop packages the same products that consumers are used to, that they may already be loyal to, whether it's their favorite shampoo, their favorite like Haagen-Dazs ice cream, and they work with the brand's R&D team, our R&D teams, to find a way to repackage that in a durable, reusable packaging. So like I bring up Haagen-Dazs, for instance, because I think that's one of like the coolest ones, because normally you don't think like there is a great process out there to be able to actually like ship, keep it cold ice cream. But they came up with one. So currently, actually just yesterday, that we had been basically piloting it for a year. It was largely on the East Coast. Yesterday, that just launched nationwide. A few months ago, we launched in the UK. And right now, you're seeing this be mainly a door drop-off sort of service. So people order the products that they want online, and then it gets delivered to their door. What we're moving towards, because we do have people who they are, it's a valid point to point out, like, hey, you're doing this, but now what is like the environmental toll of all the shipping that comes with, exactly, that comes with moving all of this stuff, and the fact that, you know, people are doing this as soon as they, you know, they might be reordering every time they use up a product. Like if you think of, if somebody was to be a true convert to Loop, let's say, if you think of how many times you go to the grocery store to refill on a certain product, think about how many times something's being sent. So what we're moving towards is partnering with retail locations for people to be able to purchase and drop off and return these refillable products in the store itself.
Okay, I think you did an awesome job. You sound very knowledgeable about TerraCycle and what you do. And the presentation was awesome.
It's very amazing. the thought process that goes into saying, hey, you know what? Why are we throwing this out? We can do something with it, and you guys are doing that. So it's very interesting and very admirable, and it's actually something that now I'm in the know about. So I'm going to be more inclined to tell people about it. It's very good. And I thank you for.
Yeah, thank you guys. This has been really awesome.